I'd like to introduce our guest. Okay, she's a seasoned professional. She's a multi-valued professional. Her name is Ayolua Akande. She is both a personal finance and career coach, helping people to achieve their financial and career goals through coaching services. Her background is in accounting, and she is a financial analyst as a professional. Ayo will be sharing with us what it takes to build wealth, no matter who you are. So, welcome to my channel, Ayo. It's so nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Very honored to be
Yes,
here.
so we're excited to have you. Okay, so right, we're going to be talking about personal finance. Okay, so we have an idea of what personal finance is. And I would say, personal finance encompasses the whole universe of managing individual and family finances, right? It entails taking responsibility for both our current and future financial situation, okay? It entails setting financial goals and a whole lot of things, all right? So what we're gonna be talking about today, right, is to help enlighten our viewers to understand that, wealth creation or building wealth is not an exclusive preserve of, a few. Okay, so it's all about, knowing what to do, okay, and doing it, right? No matter who you are, no matter what your background is, you can actually be rich. That is what we're going to be talking about today. So like for you to, just share with us, us personally, you're going to be our personal finance coach today. Help us to know, the things that we need to do on our journey to financial freedom. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you for having me here. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm very, very honored. And personal finance is something that is so near and dear to me. And I'll just give a quick background as to how I stumbled into the field of personal finance. So it was sometime in 2022. And just for introduction, you probably hear me say God a lot because my life is practically everything that has to do with me has to do with God as well. So I just realized that, okay, I got my first job, my first official big girl job. And I was like, okay, let me learn how to really manage my money properly. As at that time, I was living somewhere that I wasn't paying a lot of rent. My rent was pretty low. I was doing fairly well, like I had a lot of money in my hands. And I was like, what do I do with this money? And then I felt the Holy Spirit, God, tell me like, okay, let's go on this journey of, okay, let's learn what is money. How do the rich people use money to make money and all of that? So that was how I stumbled into this field of personal finance. And for someone like me, once I have an information, I'm going to become a chatterbox, telling everybody and anybody, oh my God, do you know about this? Do you know about this? Do you know about this? So I went through the 1-year journey in 2022 of learning about personal finance, binge watching videos, reading books, personal development books, and a lot of that. Then in 2023, going into 2023, I went back home in 2022, back to Nigeria. And when I was coming in, I was like, okay, I want to teach everybody that cares to listen about everything I've learned about personal finance. I just wanted to pour knowledge, really. And I gathered a bunch of people. I put out a form. Do you want to join an accountability group? I put out a form. A bunch of people joined from Nigeria, from Canada, from the USA. And that was how we started. So I took it upon myself. We went through the entire year of 2023. I was teaching them about personal finance. I was teaching them about managing their money. I was teaching them about budgeting. I practically taught them every single thing I knew. And the testimonies from that was just amazing. I was just like, I'm just a girl that really loves to gain knowledge and pour knowledge. And one person that was there actually became debt-free from just teaching her all of that. One person decided to quit his job and just follow his passion. Passive income ideas started booming. People started working on all of these things. And overall, everybody had a shift in their mindset about money. So that's really how my journey into personal finance came about. And yeah, I would give the kudos to whom kudos is due, which is, like I mentioned, God, really. I would say it all starts with the mindset. Whatever your mindset is, that is your identity. Whatever you believe, that is what shapes the person you are, right? We see a lot of people that go from the ghetto, for example, and they go to do a lot of big, great things. It's not like they did not have peers, that they were all together in the ghetto, but it was like, I don't want to go this route. And that was it. That's what changed the whole thing. So I would say no matter the background you come from, you can build wealth. You can be wealthy. So a lot of people think if you have a career, in this case, I mean a paid employment, you cannot build wealth. Well, I really, really like to debunk that, because we both have a career aside from what we are also building. And when I say career, let me just break it down to paid employment. We both have that, but we also have what we're doing outside of our paid employment. So like I said, the first thing, your mindset has to shift. What do I want? Everybody is going this way, but what do I want? And we always have to come back to individuality. Okay, this is me. I'm different from every other person, even though we're all intertwined, but there is still the uniqueness to me. What is my life goal? What am I really pursuing? How do I want my future to be? That's the first thing. And the second thing, like I always say and scream and chat about, education. Building wealth is 80%, people say it's 80% habit, and habits come from educating yourself and knowing what you want to do. Then it's 20% really knowledge of, everything you get. So you have to be able to apply it, right? Once you learn all of these things, you have to be able to apply it. You have to be willing to apply it no matter what. So I would say your mindset, and I would say education. Learn about budgeting. Even with your kids, you can start teaching them from as little as whenever you want to start teaching them, right? They don't have to grow up to the extent that, or in their 20s, they're now struggling with, okay, how do I manage my money and all of this? From their formative years, you can really start growing them and building them in this area as well. So I would say, like I mentioned, your mindset and education, 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 education. So yes.
So you have spoken about mindset, right? And I'm going to, I would like you to, speak more about that, right? Now, the starting point is having a mindset, starting with the fact that I also want to be rich, okay? And I know that usually it is that mindset that propels us to go after the information, to go after the education, okay? Now, I already have the mindset, okay, that I want to be rich. All right. Now, after the mindset, what else am I supposed to do? Okay. I have the mindset, then I start going after financial education. Can you I'll just like for you to share with us, the practical things, I, as a person who is interested in getting rich, okay, can do after having the mindset, okay, that I want to be rich. So what are the practical things that I can start doing, okay, to start that journey to building wealth for myself?
Yes. So I would say three things really. The first thing would be just insight, and the second two would be, they would be practical, more practical. So the first one, I would say process. Wealth is not built in a day. I know we see a lot of people out there that have attained where we want to. We use that to fuel our determination to go up. We don't compete with them, right? So I would say enjoy your process. Little drops of water makes an ocean. Little drops of water makes an ocean. Enjoy your process. Don't compare yourself to the Joneses. And also, I think a lot of people say don't compare yourself to the Joneses, but also do not compare yourself to your friends. Because sometimes we see our friends, oh my God, they're traveling, they're doing all of these things and all of that. But you really, each person's story is really peculiar to them. You don't know if a person really has what they portray to have, because you don't see their bank account, you only see the flashy car, right? You don't see their bank account, you only see what they portray to have. So don't compare yourself, just stay on your lane, gain as much as you can and move forward. So now to the practical things. I would actually say three things. The first, if you are in a situation where budget is tight, money is just tight, really, let's get down to it. Money is tight. I would say there are two ways you can go about. Is either you decrease your expense or increase your income. And I'll really expatiate on those two. So when you decrease your expense, you are looking at, okay, what can I really cut out? What is want, or what is you differentiate your needs and your wants. You differentiate those, like, okay, I don't really need this. I don't really need this. Maybe not at this time. You can still get it in future, but just know at this time, because of the situation on ground, maybe I don't really want to travel this year. Do you understand? Maybe I don't really want that Netflix, really. Like, do you really want it? Maybe I can cook at home rather than going out to eat every other day. So those are practical things. I feel like a lot of people have $1 billion in their accounts, but they, like, if you go through your year's bank statements, you will actually realize that you probably have millions rolling out of your account, but it's just that the millions is not there at once. The millions is there each month, like each month. If you really want to raise a sum of money, go to your bank account, you'll see that you actually have all this money, but it's just because we want it to be there, okay, at once. Let me see this $1 million here. But if you look at all your statement, you probably are a millionaire, really. So yeah, cut down on your cost as much as possible. If you can rent with a friend, rent with a friend. It doesn't make you any less, or you have your goals in mind. Like I said, don't compare yourself to the people that are already where you want to get to, and don't compare yourself to your friends who you see are doing all these things. It's only their bank account that can determine their true wealth, really. And when I say their true wealth, I mean financial wealth, because we can be wealthy in other areas, relationships and all of that. So I said, cut your coat, reduce your expenses. And the second thing, every single person in this world, you have a skill you can monetize that can fetch you extra income. I did an episode on my podcast on YouTube a while ago, and I just felt God telling me to release this episode because it was titled, What is in Your Hands? A lot of times it'd be like, oh, I can do this so well. Like, how would anybody want to pay for this? People need what you carry, but you've just not given them the opportunity. Yes, you give them the value and they give you in exchange what you want, which is money, right? List out the skills. Do you know how to take care of kids? Are you very gentle with kids? You can actually start babysitting. That is a skill you have that nobody else has that level of uniqueness that you bring to it. It might be a common skill and popular skill, but there is a uniqueness to you and your delivery of that skill. So I would definitely say look inward, list out what you can do, all the skills you have and have been overlooking, and start working towards 1, 2, or 3 of them. And you can always add more as you go along, or drop some as well. And the last thing I would say is we can do the whole cut cost, increase income, but there is one trick. I wouldn't call it a trick. It's called compounding. The the power in compounding. And what is compounding? I have $1. How can I make this $1 give me another dollar? Right? How can I make this ₦1 produce another naira without me working extra hard? So that is the power of compounding. It also takes time. It's just the same way we go to school. For example, I went to school to study accounting. The first day I got to school, I wasn't an accountant yet. I had to go through a 4-year program to become a certified chartered accountant. And that's the same thing process. So I mentioned 3 things. I said, cut your coat according to your size, manage your expenses, look at your monthly expenses. What can you really cut out? You will eventually get there, but maybe just not at this time. Don't compare yourself to the Joneses. The second thing I said, you have a skill you can monetize. Give people the benefit of the beauty that you are, of the value that you possess, and they would give you something in exchange for that, which is what you need. Money, right? Increased income, right? And the last thing, compounding. And compounding goes back to the first thing about education. You really cannot run off to buy an ETF or a stock or get into real estate. It starts with education. Educate yourself on your risk tolerance. Okay, am I risk neutral? Am I risk averse? Am I a risk taker? All of those things, those are very necessary. Talk to an advisor. Pay for value. Pay for value, right? Also, there are free resources, but something about free resources, even as a career coach and personal finance, I realized that if I give it out a lot of things for free, but I realize that people don't value it until I put a price on it. Because now they are investing their time, they're investing their emotion, and they are investing just everything that needs to be invested because they've put value on it. So giving out things for free, you could actually be doing people more harm than good. No matter what, just put a price on it. $5, put a price on it. If you don't, people don't value it.
I'd like for you to, tell us more, about budgeting. It's actually one of the major things or one of the major concepts in personal finance budgeting. All right. So I'd like for you to, help us understand, what this budgeting is really about.
Yeah. So what is budgeting in layman's English? Is basically you want to see how much income is coming in and how much your income weighs to your expenses. You have, for example, 5,000 coming in and your expenses is, let's say, 4,000. You have the extra 1,000 that you can also put towards, let's say, savings or investing, or all of that helps you to know if you need more income, if you need to cut down on some expenses and all of that. So that's basically what budgeting is. And there are different budgeting tools out there. You just need to go on Google and type budgeting tools. You don't have to pay for it, or you can even create yourself on Excel, right? But everybody needs to have a budget. Whether you are rich or poor, even the wealthy people have budget. They just do not have it to the teeth where they have or groceries or all of that. They have it in percentage. Like, okay, 30% is going towards this project. 50% is going towards this project. But I would say definitely go online. You would find a bunch of budgeting tools that can help you. And it's really not that difficult. So
yeah. Part of the things to also put into consideration when one is budgeting are, one's needs, one's wants, and maybe savings and investments. What would you recommend, all right, in terms of maybe percentage allocation to these things?
Yeah. All right. So
or is there really a hard and fast rule to read, or it can actually be flexible based on the goals that I've set for myself?
Yes, it can definitely be flexible. Like what we said, the topic is personal finance, meaning it's very personal. Sometimes you might have to do, for 100%, you have to do 70% needs just because you really can't cut down. Then you have, let's say, 20% wants, then you have 10% of savings. It all boils down to what works for you. The 50-30-20 rule cannot work for everybody, but it's important that you have allocation for those categories, irrespective of how tight things are. Financial freedom is possible if you want it to be. So there is a caveat there, if. So a lot of people want wealth, but they don't want to put in the work, which we already mentioned, the education and all of that. So in addition, I would say just be a person of growth. Like everything there's only so much we can say here. We'll say, oh, this and that, but just be a person that seeks knowledge, and not just seeking knowledge, but also filtering and affecting the one that really works for you. You hear a lot of people give you advice, this and that, but pick the one that works. Don't throw away the rest, because it can come in handy in the future. But yeah, just be a person of growth. You just want to know, you just want to learn and all of that. So I would say those are the three major things, and I'll categorize them again, which is the A.B.C system that I use. The first one is A, addressing mindset. Just be very genuine and in your mindset about money. Some people grew up with parents that they just had a faulty mindset regarding money, and it was always, oh, we don't have, and that shaped the child growing up. So every time they get money, it's almost like you cannot even spend on yourself. But that is not what God wants for you, really. He wants you to be abundantly blessed. Then the second thing, that's the A, addressing your mindset authentically. The second thing, like we mentioned, is budgeting. This is simple. Budgeting is as simple as, it's really simple. It's not that hard. So it doesn't constrain you, which is one myth that people have, that budgeting is constraining and all of that, but it doesn't constrain you. It only helps you to be able to make good and wise decision for your future. And the last thing, which is the C part, is compounding, and that is where everything all ties in together and really helps you to grow your money without you having to work other. There's real estate, there is stocks, there are ETFs, they're just different things, but it all still boils down to the foundation, which is education. So like I said, financial freedom is not only possible, but it will happen for you if you put in the work and if you want it to. So those are my final words.
Thank you so much, Ayo, for those amazing insights on creating and building wealth. In summary, what I hear you say is that wealth creation can be as simple as ABC. A being addressing mindset, B being budgeting, and C being taking advantage of compound interest. So, you've heard it all. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and start applying these principles and concepts if you're really sure you want to build wealth. For personal finance and career coaching services, you can reach out to Ayolua via the link in the description, which will take you to the platforms being displayed right away. Thank you for watching. If this video has added any value to you, kindly click on the subscribe and like buttons, and also put on the notification bell so that you can get notified when the next video drops. See you soon.